Hi, everybody. I'm back with Candy Whirley, and Candy well, she's just a whole bunch of things, but she's primarily a speaker, and she is someone who has worked in a lot of different industries, especially in customer service, and she is the owner of an international and national speaking business for the last 15 years. And I know you work, Candy, with a lot of women. I mean, you work with companies and teams and so forth, but
Mhm.
what is it that you wish everyone, especially women, understood?
Well, Gail, really, especially women, I just truly believe, and because I've seen this, that women, we make better allies than enemies. And I've worked in companies, and I'm just sure you have too, or worked with associations where I've heard stories of women backstabbing other women, and it's just like you've got to be kidding me. Nothing just makes me more sad. Not really mad, just makes me sad that women would do that to another woman instead of helping one another climb, helping one another grow, using one another as assets instead of enemies, and backstabbing and you know, talking, gossiping, all of that. It's just like, oh, when I get chances to speak to women, it's just like, oh my gosh, please love each other, hang on to each other, use each other's knowledge, share your knowledge so we can grow instead of pushing one another down. Not, it's just one of those things, we all have our little things. That's just one of those things that just drives me crazy when women treat each other poorly instead of, hanging on and learning from one another.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, I've worked with a lot of women over the years, and of course, they have very often said to me, "Oh, I much prefer a male boss to a woman boss," and there has been a lot of backstabbing, and I think that's changing now. I think there's a lot more support, especially with what's going on with all the sexual harassment suits and so forth. I think
Sure.
there's much more support for women at this point. But this is interesting. I run a not-for-profit mastermind group, and in it,
Hmm.
one of my members, I have 11 members in there, and one of them is the director, executive director of the Girl Scouts. And she was saying this morning that this is an organization for girls, by girls, and to empower girls who will eventually become women. And these young women, starting with the cookie sales, are really taught to respect one another, to speak up, how to sell because they've got to get those cookies sold. That's where they earn their money, and
Hmm.
go for what they really believe in. And it's really interesting to see how passionate she is about the world of girls, and then how passionate the girls are. And she's raising, I think her daughter is 9 or 10 or something like that. And she said some of the things that her daughter has said this morning, and I was really impressed. So hopefully that's changing with the women of today, and the fact that we're focusing now on taking back our power and that kind of thing. And I never really knew there was all this bias because I just ignored all of it. I guess I've always worked for myself,
Yeah.
and if I ran into a stumbling block, it was just a stumbling block. I just had to get over it and do what had to be done. But it really had nothing to do with male, female, as it just had to do with personality, I think, more than anything else. So when we,
Ah.
because if you look for trouble, you're going to find trouble. And
Mhm.
when people said things to me, I guess I looked at them as they were pretty silly and stupid. So I never really paid attention to it. But that was my personality. What can I say? So you talk about something which is really really important to me, and that is what brings you pure joy. I went through a period, not very long, because it doesn't. I'm not a person to get depressed, but I
Mhm.
just
Me
said to
neither.
myself, I'm just not having the joy in my life that I used to have. So I want to know what brings you pure joy.
Um, I have to say, being silly, and that comes out when what brings me pure joy is being with those grandbabies. They bring out the little girl in me. I just played laser tag um, the other day with one grandson. We're doing dates. So I have dates with my grandson separately, and they love this place that has laser tag. Screaming and being childlike brings me such joy. I just can't believe it. I am an animal fanatic. So I have kitties and possums here on the farm and deer, and that brings me pure joy. And truly being with people and getting to know new people, which what a perfect job for me, if you can even call it a job, being a speaker and traveling. I love being around new people and laughing, whether I'm teaching them or they're teaching me. I just absolutely, oh my gosh, it just makes me giddy. As a matter of fact, you saying I never get depressed. I don't get depressed either. I've never had to deal with that, thank God. But I do know that when I have a little bit of off time, Gayle, in my schedule, and I'm not traveling and I'm not speaking, I start getting a little blue. I start getting a little stir crazy. And then it's funny because I wonder why, gosh, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Well, guess what? It's I need to be around people. I need to meet new people. I need to laugh. I need to be social. Moving to the country about a year and a half ago, I really had to make some adjustments because I am 1 hour away from Kansas City, and that's where we're from. That's where all of our people are. And so there was a bit of an adjustment. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of digging my quiet time now. I'm getting a little joy from sitting out on my back porch looking at the trees.
What made you decide to move?
You know what? My husband of 30 years has always wanted to live in the country. And we were at a time in our life that we could do that. He took early retirement, and so it's just really me having to go to the airport. I am 1 hour and 15 minutes from the Kansas City airport now. If I have an early flight, I can stay with my kids, or a late flight, I can stay with my kids. So in my mind, I went ahead and said, I can do this. We can do this now. And so truly, it was for him at the beginning. And now it's like, oh my gosh, why didn't we do this a long time ago? Because I absolutely loved it. Love it. He's more of a solitary person, opposites attract, Gayle. Right. And he's just, he has always just wanted to have land and woods and ponds. And we both really dreamed of a log cabin. We just can't believe how we were truly blessed by finding this place. So, but that's what brought us out. It was really him saying, please, 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 can we do it now?
Well, it's interesting, because I'm an animal fanatic, as you know, and I'm just trying to picture the cats and the possums because I don't think they really get along. But I can just see this picture because I know that when I was living on the water on Miami Beach, and we had possums. And I had 5 dogs at the time, and the mother dog, the one that was the oldest, she knew they were not supposed to be there, and she literally took those possums and snapped their necks. She could just go whoomp, and they were gone. And that was really something to see. And yet, my older son left a rabbit in our house. We heard this thump, 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 thump. We didn't know what it was. We went up and there was a rabbit. He thought, well, let me just do this and see what they think. And we brought this rabbit out and side, and the other dogs, well, they just couldn't wait to get at it. But because we brought the rabbit out of the house, she protected it. This dog that wouldn't have anything with the possum in the backyard just protected this rabbit. None of the other dogs could get near it, and of course we didn't leave it outside. But it was really an interesting dichotomy to see the difference in how she responded to the possum and how she responded to the rabbit. But okay, so what does that mean in terms of what you're looking forward to for the next 50 plus years?
If my life kept on this way, kept on exactly the way it's going now, I will live a blessed life, a totally blessed life, because having my business for 16 years, and I just had my 16th year. So having my business for 16 years, my schedule is really starting. I'm starting to find a rhythm in the months that I speak. So I speak just all the time in April, May, and June. And then I speak September, October, a little bit November, but I have off time. And I love that, especially now that I'm in the country. So I'm hoping that my schedule continues just like this, because I feel like if it goes like this, I could speak for another 50 years. Because here's the thing. I just talked to a speaker who says he has 100 dates a year. I've talked to speakers, we got 125 dates. Oh my gosh, Gayle, I don't know about you, but I have no desire. I have no desire to work that hard. I know that.
Well, see, I used to do that. I used to do 135 programs a year. And I used to leave my house on a Sunday or a Monday and come back on a Friday. And I did that for over 10 years. And then I calmed down a little bit. And then, of course, when my husband got sick, I changed my schedule as well. However, I loved every minute of it. I mean, I just loved every minute of it. But when I was done, I mean, I would never want to go back to that, even though people think I travel a lot now compared to how I used to travel. To me, how I travel now is a piece of cake. So it's just really interesting. So that's great. I mean, it's wonderful to know that you have the material, the contacts, the enthusiasm, the clients that will continue to use you for the next 50 years or refer you to someone, which is very important as well.
Yeah, that's how I run my whole business. My business is referral based only. And I'm going to tell you, I just started this about 2 years ago. I have a referral program that I always announce when I'm on the stage, that if they refer me, whoever refers me, and I get the gig, I donate $100 to their favorite charity on their behalf.
Oh, that's a very interesting point of view. That's great.
Yeah. And so it's just like, oh my gosh, it's the least I could do. I'll tell you, I wonder if you did the same thing. You said something, Gayle, where you used to leave on Sunday and come back on Friday. When I very first, and we didn't talk about this, and I didn't bring it up, I gave a great big overview. When I very first started my speaking career, I worked for a seminar company. I started with Fred Pryor seminars.
Ah, okay. Well, I did work with different seminar companies, not just one. I did a huge amount of seminars for the University of Miami. I did a lot of work for Career Track. Not the American Management Association, but there was one that was based in Florida that I did work for. And then there was Dun & Bradstreet. So I worked with a lot of different companies. I wrote programs for them. They did license many of my programs, so I got royalties on top of that. And then that led to, of course, a lot of other things. But yeah, so it makes a big difference when you do something like that.
Oh my gosh. And I'm like you, because I worked with Fred Pryor, and then I worked for National Seminars Group, who bought
Right.
career
They brought,
track.
right.
Yes. And I look back now and I think, oh my gosh, how did I do that? How did I go from Sunday to Friday? And remember, we drive from city to city to city. You'd speak all day, get in the car, drive for 2 hours to the next place.
And I've got stories galore, as I'm sure you do too, because there were some Greyhound buses mixed in there, some taxis, some all kinds of things because of weather. However, I always marveled that people, whether it was for a seminar company or actually any of the organizations we speak for, that they really believed we would show up. I mean, it was always amazing to me. They didn't call us, they didn't see us. What I did every single day whether it was for a seminar company or whether it was for a client, a direct client, I always called them when I hit and I'd say, here I am, I just want you to know I'm here. But I can tell you, I was doing a program in Namibia in West Africa, and 3 speakers didn't show up, and this was for my own client. And they're not around the corner in Namibia. So I said, look, I'm here, you're paying me. You don't have to pay me any extra money. I have enough material. I could talk for 3 weeks. I'll never repeat myself. And just use me wherever you can use me. And that's what she did. And I made a lifelong friend. So,
Wow.
you just never know how it's all going to work out. But,
That's right.
Okay, so tell us what your motto is.
My motto, and I'm going to tell you, it's been like this as far back as I can remember. It's never settle for less than your heart is calling you to become.
Wow.
Never settle for less than your heart is calling you to become. Because I could have settled. And I think about that as a single mom. Everybody's like, oh, you can't go back to school. You're a single mom. Oh, you can't own your own business. Oh, you can't buy your own house. You're a single mom, And it's just like, but I knew what my heart wanted, and my heart wanted more for my son. My heart wanted normalcy for my son, and I just kept on going. So I just never settled. I never settled for what anybody said. I just kept on going. I got 2 degrees, got a house, met the man of my dreams, been married ever since, so I just tell men and women, doesn't matter. Just don't settle. Just don't ever settle.
So you were an unwed mother at a time when it's really sacrilegious to be an unwed mother. I mean, today people's mores and feelings are really different. Did the father of your son ever participate in his life at all? Did you want him to marry you? Did he say I as soon as he found out? Or?
At the very beginning, yes. I felt like, ooh, this is what I'm supposed to do. Because we had been together for like 2 years in high school. So, but then, oh God, by the grace of God, it didn't work out. And I'm going to tell you, here's another little twist. And just 2 years ago, I got to tell this person how much he changed my life. We had a little split up, me and the dad. And I decided, you know what, don't need this. And there was a professional. Now I remember I was not a chiefette at this time because I had already had my son. And I was working at a clothing store, and a professional football player came in and asked me out on a date, Gayle. And at that moment, and we went out a few times, but it was all I needed to absolutely build my self-esteem. He didn't care that I was a single mom. He loved my son. He was little. But I'm telling you, at that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, you know what? Again, never settle. I can do this. And I never looked back. So, no, we never got married. But here's the beautiful side. I am still, to this day, very, very, very close to his family, my son's dad's family, and so is my son. They call me their daughter. As a matter of fact, they were just at my cabin 2 weeks ago at my fall party.
Well, see, now that's wonderful to know. And the fact that they probably love the grandchildren and all of that as well.
Oh, yeah. I have been, and my husband and my daughter have been a part of their lives ever since Jordan is my son, ever since Jordan, and Jordan's 36 now, ever since my son was born. Yeah. Wow. So it's been and the funny thing is, his dad passed away about 3 years ago.
Really?
Just did not lead a good life. So, things work in a funny way.
But that just goes to show, when there's another lesson here, and that is, I have spoken, and I'm sure you have too, to audiences where people will say, well, 30 years ago, and they'll go into something, or they'll say, well, my mom, and I'll say, is your mom still alive? And they'll say no. And I'll say, when did she pass away? And the mom may have passed away 20 years ago, and she's still controlling their lives. What you did was you took a situation which was not a good situation at the time, and you made it positive. You made it good. You made it into something that you don't regret, and you've got a wonderful family because of it. So it's very interesting to see what you're saying, and that is to move on ahead, and not let anything really stop you. So let's tell people how to reach you. We've got about 2 minutes left. How can they get a hold of Candy?
There's a couple of ways. You can go to my website, which is Candy, Candy Whirley, WHIRLEY.com, candyWhirley.com, and you can contact me through there. I have a contact page. You can shoot me an email at candy@candywhirley.com. That's the perfect way. I'm email. You can friend me on Facebook and LinkedIn and all that good stuff. But I'm totally available. It was funny, Gayle, I had a client call me. She wanted to order a case of books from me for her workshop that she's getting ready to have. And I answered, this is Candy, and she spit and sputtered and said, oh my God, it's you? Yeah, I'm like you, Gayle. I'm by myself. I don't have any employees. So you call me, you email me, you are going to get me.
Okay, so again, if you want to reach Candy, it's Candy, Candy, Whirley, WHIRLEY.com. That's her website. Or you can email her at candy@candywhirley.com.
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. Well, I hope you've enjoyed Candy today. She is a spitfire. I had the pleasure of watching her work with the Florida Speakers Association, and she did a wonderful program for us and got us up and moving and laughing, and it was just fabulous, and people really got a lot out of it, and then at the end, told what they did, what they discovered about themselves. So it was really a fascinating time. I want to thank you so much for being with us today, Candy. You've been a delight, and we loved having you.
All right. Thank you, Gayle. Thanks for having me.
You are welcome. You've had the opportunity to get to know me over the last few years, and I'd like to get to know you as well. One of the things I'm offering is training for the media. I have a wonderful program that will get you ready for any radio or TV interview you might be offered. Many of you are doing wonderful things, but no one knows about them. Others of you are successful and wonder, what's next? Whether you're in a business or have a special cause or a specific event you're promoting, media can help, and I can help you master your message so you can master the media. If this sounds interesting to you, email me at GaylCarson13@gmail.com with media training in the subject line. I promise I will be in touch.